of the greatest teaching I ever had started very early with Mama saying, when you get, give, and when you learn, teach. That will take you all over the world. I used to think I was a writer who could teach. Now I know I'm a teacher who can write. And when I get a class together, I look at them and think, you poor dears, you poor little darlings. You think that you've come to be taught by a celebrity. I promise you, you'll never work as hard in your life as you'll work in my class. But you'll never be the same either. The theme in my class, all the classes, no matter what I'm teaching, is I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. That statement, if you look under Terence with one R in the encyclopedia, you will see beside his name in Latin, Homo sum humani nihil me alienum puto. This was stated by an African, Terentius Afer. He was a slave. He was sold to a Roman senator. He was freed by that senator. He wrote the most popular plays in Rome. 5 of those plays in that one statement have come down to us from 154 BC. I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. I tell my students, when you can internalize that, you can never again say when a person commits the most horrific crime, you can never say, oh, I could never do that. You can say, I intend never to do that. You have the same components in you. But if you can do that with the negative, just think of what you can do with the positive.
Greetings, and more greetings, and welcome to another week of Here to Help You. I am Dave Rankin, as my handle likes to say, I are Dave Rankin. Today's show is going to be a very interesting show. Now, the reason why I say it's a very interesting show today is because we're looking at simply addressing learning styles. How to apply to us as individuals, and more importantly, how we can go ahead now and apply this to our life so that we'll be able to go ahead now and take any subject, regardless of how it's taught, and apply towards our own selves. And of course, get ahead and get on top in regards to what we need to do. Shout outs, of course, to the video at the beginning there with the great matriarch Maya Angelou. She was go ahead and she was elucidating on her thoughts regarding teaching and learning, and how that, of course, has revolutionized the way many of us learn and as well as think and teach. Now, addressing the learning styles. Now, most people would agree that not everybody learns the same way, right? And researchers also agree that people process this information in various ways. Learning styles are generally thought of as various ways that people learn or prefer to learn. And this is something that we are going to go ahead and address today. And in fact, there are 7 different learning styles that we will be addressing today. We're going, of course, the names of them, suggestions, and as well as, what things not to look out for, things not to go ahead and apply to yourself. And more importantly, it stresses the old African proverb of know thyself. If you know yourself, you know your learning style. If you learn your learning style, you know exactly what it is that you need to do to get ahead. And more importantly, how we go ahead and trample the beast in the system here. So as we continue on, it is not that people are inflexible and cannot learn in various ways. Educators believe that people learn best in probably just 1 or 2 ways. And we'll find out today in regards to how and, when or where we actually fit into these learning styles. I'm speaking to Simone earlier, and big up my wife. We can't forget that still. In regards to comparing our learning styles, and Simone, the smart cookie that she is, pretty much 5 out of the 7 learning styles she can go ahead and adhere to in regards to, and how and where, more importantly, how she goes in and, fits into the actual modalities, in regards to how she likes to learn. And more importantly, how she uses the various learning styles to go ahead and obtain that near perfect average, which she did in university. I'm so jealous. I could never do that. And to continue on here. So addressing your learning style may be beneficial because knowing your learning style will then allow you to use more of an effective learning strategy. And this is true, especially when we're talking about now those who are auditory versus, kinesthetics and, kinesthetic learners, that is, and we'll go into that a little bit more in a moment. Now, And the more you understand yourself, the more likely you'll be able to go and accept yourself. And this is coming from researchers Martin and Potter, who went ahead and wrote this subject or this line here back in 1998. Now, it's important to go ahead and address this for various reasons. But here's one of them. You know, regardless of the fact that you know that it is okay to go ahead and learn, in whatever style that it is that you're more comfortable with. But more importantly, if you understand in regards to where it is that you fit into, it is going to help you excel. A lot of our teachers, I had this conversation prior to the show today where some of our teachers in our school systems today, they're used to teaching in one way. So that way they're used to go ahead and addressing students in one manner. So now the student, which is kinesthetic, may not go ahead and survive or thrive in a classroom where simply another student would be auditory, right? And vice versa, if of course now we're looking at somebody who's verbal, we can go ahead and look at a teacher who has been, going through, of course, their notes and their lecturing style and so on and so forth, as opposed to now someone who is, a visual, who needs those charts and needs those visual prompts so that they can go ahead and thrive, as well. So it's very important, these are very important things that we'll be going and addressing today. So one of the aims that we have to go ahead and strive for today is that, we as Africans, all over this world, we have different learning styles from our counterparts, the counterparts being, of course, the Caucasians. We understand, of course, what's here in the Americas, that we understand that, the education system may not be designed for us here. However, though, because we have to know ourselves, and once we do, we will be able to thrive, regardless of who the lecturer is, regardless of the lecturing style, regardless of the teacher. Once again, as the old African proverb states, know thyself. If you know yourself, you'll be able to go ahead and thrive in the situations where some other people who simply do not know themselves will. After the break, actually, let's take an early break, right? Let's take an early break. So after the break, we're going to go ahead and break down each and every one of these learning styles, right? And more importantly, we're going to give you some suggestions, some study tips, and there's going to be a lot of visuals as well, because we know there's some of you visual learners out there. So stay tuned with us. We're going on a break right now. Here to help you, I am Dave Rankin. Come back. We got something very exciting for y'all.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome back to Here to Help You. Once again, I are Dave Rankin, and this is Here to Help You on my TCN network. Today, once again, if you haven't missed it, you missed the first break, or excuse me, the first segment prior to the break. We are talking about learning styles, right? What they are, how to address them within yourself, and more importantly, what are suggestions, tips that is going to help us, thrive in our society. I'm just gonna get right into it. So here we go. We're going with our first one today, and it's visual or spatial. Now, some people like to go ahead and remember best in regards to what it is that they see. So they prefer pictures, diagrams, flowcharts, timelines, films, and demonstrations to go ahead and access and understand new information. Sometimes they have trouble learning information presented through words. I can attest to that, because sometimes, you need that clear picture. right? And more importantly, you know what? If you can go ahead and organize it in such a way where simply it is visual for yourself, then by all means, go right ahead. So let's go to the first picture. Here's some learning styles here, or at least some thoughts. First, I often think in mental pictures or images. Second, my powers of imagination are higher than average. And third, a picture is worth 1,000 words. As Africans here in the diaspora, this is something that we can go ahead and attest to because, of course, let's look at simply the hieroglyphics, where simply you're looking at visualizations, looking at a picture or a symbol of something that could mean, a few things. For instance, our circle with a dot right in the middle of it meant Ra, which was, of course, that supreme being, as opposed to now, for instance, let's take a vulture, for instance, which could mean, so many other words, so, some other meanings as well, So, I mean, they were symbolic. In this case, they were visual, and more important for us here, simply, where some of us have adjusted our ways to, of course, to our modern society, where we'd have to go ahead and stray from that. But at least they went ahead and left us these pictures, these visuals, for us to go ahead and see, bring us to how they have learned throughout the ages. So here's a few tips in regards to how we can go ahead and help the visual learner. Number one, if the course material is predominantly verbal, try to find some diagrams, schematics, photographs, or flowcharts, or any other visual representation. If you can't find any, make some. I know students, in fact, they need flowcharts. So if you're one of these students simply, who needs a flowchart to go ahead and excel, go ahead and do so. Number two, if you can't find any by any means, on your own, then, or can't make any on your own, then find some, go to YouTube, video podcasts, videotapes, CDs, whatever it is that you need to learn as to how to go to make these flowcharts, or more importantly, to how to go ahead, and compartmentalize where you are able to go ahead and design these things, these modalities for yourself, so that you can go ahead and thrive. It's wonderful. Let's go to the second picture there. Yes, I love this here. There's an app, in fact, I forget the name of the app. I think it's Simply Learning or something that I don't remember the exact name, but it enables us to go ahead and actually design flowcharts such as this. So a concept map, where simply you can list key points, and enclose them in either boxes, circles, or draw lines and arrows between the concepts to show the connections, right? So I mean, something like this could be very beneficial towards your learning style, Like I mentioned before, students, by means, if you can't do it on your own, YouTube it. It's the second largest search engine in the world. By means, so how to go ahead and make something like this, and work for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be textbook, but by means, as long as you go ahead and put it in ways that you'll be able to go understand the material, go ahead and use it. And last, color code. Color coding your notes with a highlighter. You could choose a different criteria for this. For example, everything related to one topic could be yellow. Related to another topic could be red or pink or simply blue. But by means, these will help. It's an excellent point of reference when you go ahead and actually do the color-coded references here. So by means, go ahead and do so. Whether it's stickers or stickies or sticky notes, by means, go ahead and do so as well. But more importantly, if you can go ahead and organize it once again in such a manner where, you are using these colors to go ahead and benefit yourself, you are going to thrive. Let's go to our second one here, which is verbal or linguistic. These are people who simply study better when the information is presented through words, or by reading or simply listening. They prefer either written or spoken explanations. If you're a verbal learner, by means, here's a few other tips here for you. Let me go ahead and sip some water here. So the first point there, I can't imagine thinking in terms of mental pictures, which is true. And some people simply, they can't go ahead and put the pictures behind the words, so simply they just need the words instead. I prefer to read instructions on how to do something rather than have someone show me. I'm sure a lot of people can go ahead and attest to that. Next, I have a better than average fluency in using words, right? So, I mean, we can see how now, of course, the variations between the two first styles, in regards to how one who can think in pictures, all right, as just to go ahead and understand the concept, or simply, one who can't use the pictures but need the actual words, the definitions, and so on and so forth there, so they can go ahead now and once again thrive in our society. So here's some techniques. The first, we can write summaries or outlines of the training material in your own words. And this is key because, you know, if you can go ahead and write this in your own words, you can obtain a better grasp of the information presented. Now, by adapting the material, you will understand it better, as I mentioned before, and also it could save you so much time in the long run. Number two, working in groups can be effective. You can gain an understanding of material by listening to others, and also you can learn even more when you actually do the explanation as well. Number three, using repetition as a learning technique. And this is important too, all right? And it is most effective when there's a short time of interval between repetitions at the beginning. And then you prolong it every time you successfully remember the lesson. You know, I know students, in fact, they need to go through, the repetition. They need to go through it over and over, you know, so that way, once again, they can go ahead and grasp the material, and more importantly, you know, score well in their testing or reviews. And last, associations, which is excellent as well, as an excellent technique. If you can go ahead and make an association of the word or the information, by means, you know what, it makes it easier for you to go ahead and remember. Some of us like to use, for instance, acronyms. I've used this in the past, simply where the four stages of racism. You're looking at E, M, E, R, the first four letters in emergency. You know, E for establishment, M for management, E once again for expansion, and R at the end for refinement. So by means, you know what, if you can go ahead and use these techniques, they can go ahead and assist you in of course, you know what, thriving in our society. You know, we were supposed to go to the break here, but by means, you know what, actually, you know what, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to another early break. I know the materials can be a little bit heavy by means, you know, but once again, as long as we can go ahead and obtain a better grasping as to the learning styles, then once again, as mentioned before, the old African proverb of know thyself, it is going to go ahead and assist you, regardless if you're a student while you're in school or simply a student of life. This is here to help you. I'm Dave Rankin. We'll be back after these few messages.
Hello, my name is Anisha, and I'm the production manager of TCN Network. Have you ever wanted to host your own show? Do you have a message to share? Well, you're in luck. We are looking for dynamic and unique individuals to host their own shows. We are seeking people who are committed, motivated, and energetic. Do you want to be the next Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, or Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved? Start here. Fill out the Propose a Show form on mytcntv.com. We're here to educate, support, and build the community. Can you lead by example? Go the extra mile and seek knowledge? Are you humble, disciplined, responsible, selfless, and enthusiastic? Those are our core values. And if you identify with them, you could be part of a growing network that focuses on positivity and uplifting our community. We can't wait for you to join us on TCN Network and hope to hear from you soon.
This guy is first an electrician. You may know him as a DJ, but that's not who he is. He is a certified electrician. Flash said, how can I get this music to continuously play without having to stop? How can I keep the party moving? How can I keep this going? And surprisingly enough, he can't. He can't. A mic toggle switch. A mic toggle switch is a little round thing and it had a switch. And you go click, click, on, off. That's all it does. It's a switch. It's a toggle. It has a little thing and a ball on the front. It's like on, off. He kicked it. It was garbage. He picked it up, started thinking about it. On, off, on, off. He's a certified electrician. Went home with this thing, hooked it up to his turntables. He clicked one, that came on. click this. It didn't come on. Why? Because it's off. So he made off on. So now you got two ons. One shuts the other one off but plays this. The other one shuts that off and plays this. The crossfade is invented now. Grandmaster.
Welcome back. Still here to help you. Once again, I am Dave Rankin. Shout outs, of course, to the Blast Master, aka the teacher, KRS-One, for going ahead and breaking down in regards to the crossfader. And it's gonna go ahead and bring us into our next learning style. Before I do so, thank you once again for joining us for another week. If you are just tuning in right now, we are talking about learning styles. In fact, we'll be going through 7 of them today. And and I would like to go ahead and hear from everybody. What learning style plays out for yourself. And more importantly, like, we understand that us as humans, we can go ahead and fall into the various styles. So it doesn't necessarily have to be one particular learning style. As I mentioned before, in the earlier segments, Simone herself, she falls into five different learning styles. So my story got to be correct. You know what I mean? So we're going to continue on here. The next learning style that we're going into today is musical, or simply oral or auditory. I'm a DJ if anybody doesn't really know, and I identify with this one a lot because when I hear music, it allows me to go ahead and actually see patterns, and hear notes. More importantly, I can hear other music as well. And what Chris wanted to explain in regards to the crossfade, in regards to when a DJ goes ahead and actually attempts to blend 2 songs to make them sound like one, right? Which is very important in regards to a mixing style as well. But musical learners, they thrive in an environment where they can not only hear music, but also hear patterns and relationships between sounds. That's me, my friend. That's for sure. Now, if you are an oral or auditory or learning style, are you one of those people who simply tap rhythmically on your desk with a pencil or a pen? Do you love silly rhymes or chants? I myself, I'm always banging the desk. I'm always banging the table. In fact, sometimes she gets kind of upset with me. She's trying to say something to me, and she thinks I'm in another world. But simply, I have that skill where I can go ahead and listen, but still go ahead, and do a little beatbox at the same time. It gets on the nerves sometimes, but it's just the way I am sometimes, What we're trying to explain is simply is this, that we simply don't just like or love music, but we actually connect it to every level because simply we're rhythmic learners, and that's very important for us. We just can't keep quiet in regards to, we don't like a quiet house sometimes. We don't like anything quiet, especially when we're learning or studying. It helps to go ahead and actually remember a few items. And by means, let's go to the next picture in regards to some of these characteristics. And so, you are a music learner or simply an auditory, simply if you have music or a song in your head all the time, or if not most of the time. I got one right now. I think I got about 2 or 3 of them right now. You may even say ordinary things in a sing-song way. Number 3, you enjoy singing or chanting. I can't sing to save my life, but I'm going to take a chance to, You're a very good listener, and also, as you mentioned before, you tap or move to a rhythm. So it's very important in regards to these characteristics, and if you fall into one of these, by means, let's go into the next picture so that we can go ahead and assist you. We got number 6? Perfect. All right, so music learners, they're more stimulated to learn when they are surrounded by music. So by means, feel free to go ahead and play some music that you can listen to while you actually read, write, or simply learning a new skill. For some of us, it helps us to go ahead and actually stimulate the brain or fire up those brain cells so that we can go ahead and apply the lesson a little bit better. Pick the right kind of music, whether it's classical, whether it's jazz, whether it's hip hop, whether it's house music, regardless what it is. Pick something that you're familiar with, so it's going to make you sing along. So by means, and it will go ahead and help you focus at the task at hand. Reading out loud. This is something as well that by means, it will go ahead and help you. When it comes to reading, it is best for musical learners to read out loud as you have the chance to hear the sounds and patterns in the English words, and structures to go ahead and make it a little more formidable. Also, if you've been given a new project at Word, by means, read it out loud a few times. It's going to help you go ahead and put the pieces together. I myself sometimes have to do this so that way I can hear it. I know a few songwriters, in fact, you know what, they need to go ahead and get out of their own headspace when they are writing something, so that way when they are formulating their lyrics, you know, they hear it and say, in regards to, you know, okay, this doesn't work here, this works here, so you know, go ahead and make the song arrangements a little more fluid, you know. If you have to put the, you know what, if you're putting together a bookcase, put some music on, you know, so that we can go ahead and read the instructions, you know, while the music's going, and by means, you know, it's going to go ahead and help you there, you know. The intonation, I hope I'm saying that right. The intonation practice, sentence stress or word stressing, rising and falling intonations. These are simply just putting stresses on certain syllables, whether it's at the beginning, middle, or end of an actual word, or simply, you know, the beginning of a sentence, the middle of a sentence, or simply just at the end. You know, these are the type of things that musical learners should have no trouble with, as you have a good ear for picking up the differences. You know, and also while listening to the instructions, simply write them down. You know, write out simple words that stick out to you. You know, and review them later. These are going to go ahead and help us. You know, what to avoid, and this is very important for us auditory learners. Number one, if a completely quiet environment will not work, we need to be going ahead and actually stimulated by sound. You know, number two, quiet reading or writing also may not help. You know, musical learners, they need to hear out loud what they will write before they can go ahead and write it. Sometimes if you got to stop floating around in your head, say it out loud so that you can hear it, and by means it's going to go ahead and help you go ahead and make things a lot more fluid. You know, these things here by means, you know what, they are designed to go ahead and assist us. So once again, it's all about knowing ourselves, or simply our ancient forefathers and foremothers have said, know thyself. So that way we can go ahead and thrive in regards to the system that simply is going to allow us, by means, you know, to get ahead, right? As you mentioned before, some teachers, they don't come into a classroom knowing that, you know, students have this type of learning style or have this type of other learning style. They might not have the actual either mental capacity, or simply just not trained, or more importantly, they got 25, 30 students in their classroom. Sometimes they just don't have the time. We get that. We understand that. But us as parents, you know, us as tutors, educators who simply, you know what, who wants our students to go ahead and thrive, who need our students to go ahead and thrive in a healthy environment, these are some of the things that we need to go ahead and pick out. So by means, any educators, teachers, by means, you know what, parents as well, know your children, understand the children, by means, you know what, so that way you can go ahead and assist them in making the correct choices. You know what, and more importantly, you know what, so they can go and thrive in this classroom. We understand, you know, especially in today's society, that there's so many distractions, you know what, and you know what, there are a lot of teachers, whether it's parents, whether it's doctors, anybody whatsoever, they're quick to go ahead and place a label on students, you know, and in fact, one of those labels we'll get into in after the break, where, you know what, kinesthetics, simply, you know what, they get labels placed on them. But by means, you know what, it's more important that we understand the learning styles, you know, that are going to go ahead and help our children or simply students of life, so that they can go ahead and thrive in a society. We'll be back after these messages.
Ho, 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 ho.
My name is Anisha, and I'm the production manager of TCN Network. Have you ever wanted to host your own show? Do you have a message to share? Well, you're in luck. We are looking for dynamic and unique individuals to host their own shows. We are seeking people who are committed, motivated, and energetic. Do you want to be the next Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, or Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved? Start here. Fill out the Propose to Show form on mytcntv.com. We're here to educate, support, and build the community. Can you lead by example? Go the extra mile and seek knowledge? Are you humble, disciplined, responsible, selfless, and enthusiastic? Those are our core values. And if you identify with them, you could be part of a growing network that focuses on positivity and uplifting our community. We can't wait for you to join us on TCN Network and hope to hear from you soon.
Cool. Welcome back to another break. After the break here, I'm Dave Radkin. This is here to help you. We are talking about, of course, learning styles, and so far we've gone through a few of them, spatial or visual, auditory, and as well as, music learning. So in regards to the last one there, it's more important in regards to like helping each and every one of us understanding our learning styles so that we can go ahead and do the best that we can. We're going off to our next one here, which is kinesthetic. Sometimes our students or our students of life can be diagnosed with ADHD, especially if you're a kinesthetic learner. But as we mentioned before, it comes down to understanding. And if simply we don't have an understanding, the by means, we're going to be placed with labels. So physical or kinesthetic. In essence, if you are a kinesthetic learner, you process information best when you are physically engaged throughout the learning process. A kinesthetic learner has a hard time learning through traditional lecture-based schooling or training because the body does not make the connection that you are doing something when you are listening without movement. Your brain is simply engaged, but your body is not. So this makes it more difficult, especially when you're processing the information. Let's go to the next picture. You can tell if you're a kinesthetic learner if you have lots of energy. If you get all antsy in long lectures or training sessions. Have you ever noticed that it's easier for you to study if someone asks you questions while you shoot hoops or simply if you're walking around? If this is you, then by means you fall into this learning style. If you are a kinesthetic learner, let's go ahead and provide you with a few techniques here to go ahead and improve your comprehension, retention, as well as concentration. Number one, stand up instead of sitting down. Standing up should help and will go ahead and help your comprehension and retention. When you are standing up, your body is a little bit more engaged and connected to the learning process. Investing in a book stand or simply, a standing desk may help you concentrate for longer periods of time and remember what you've read. Next, combining your study session with exercise. Instead of plopping on the sofa with your notes, get up and do burpees or simply jumping jacks in between some chapters. I've never done that. I'm sure there are people who have, and hopefully, of course, this suggestion will go ahead and help. Last, use a pen, a pencil, or highlighter. The color coding, as you mentioned before, for other learners, by means it could go ahead and help for you as well. Underline, of course, the most important vocabulary or concepts while you do read. Highlight or the color code passages that connect to one another. So by means, if you are a kinesthetic, by means or a physical learner, understand definitely that some of these suggestions here will go ahead and help you, regardless of of the environment that you're in. Next, logical or mathematical. Do you know those people that simply who are able to go ahead and total an amount of lunch or simply or dinner to the penny? Those are our next group of learners, or simply the logics. Now, the logical or mathematical learners are typically methodical, and they think in logical or linear order. You're great at simply solving math problems in your head or simply drawn to logic puzzles or games. Their strengths. Math, as we mentioned before, logic, seeing patterns, problem solving, finding logical methods to answer questions, classifying or categorizing. You're comfortable with working with the abstract, and this is very important as well. If you can go ahead and break down these abstract opinions or suggestions or topics into complex, more simplified manners for yourself, you definitely go ahead and and fall into this category. People with this learning style often seek out rules or procedures and maybe less assured when these don't exist. You may not be tolerant when others don't simply follow the logical sequences, rules, or procedures, when this can definitely get you into trouble. However, though, you know what? A little bit more patience might mean to go ahead and help you there. So if you have someone on your team with this type of learning style, they can be very useful. And here are ways to go ahead and help them go ahead and utilize their strengths. Have them contribute by making an agenda or a list. Have them set numerical goals, ranking brainstorming ideas, putting steps into a sequence. Keep track of the progress of the group, and as well as constructing data reports. Allow them to troubleshoot the problems using their logics, their analysis, and as well as math skills. Definitely we're going to go ahead and help everybody on the team go ahead and thrive for success. Next, we got social interpersonal. This one's a very interesting one here. Now, if you have a strong social style, you communicate well with people, both verbally and non-verbally. People listen to you or come to you for advice, and you are sensitive to their motivations, feelings, or moods. You listen well and understand others' views, and you may enjoy mentoring or as well as counseling others. You prefer to work through issues, ideas, and problems within a group. Also, you thoroughly enjoy working with a synergistic group of people. So simply, simply people who are connecting, people who simply, are very social or outgoing personality or have outgoing personalities. This is definitely for you. Let's go to the picture, please. Now, interpersonal learners, they use the following. Let's work together on this. We can work it out. Tell me what you are thinking. Help me understand this. Let's post together. Let's pull some people together to go ahead and discuss. And more importantly, let's explore our options. It's very important in regards to, of course, understanding regarding this type of learning styles. It's more for the outgoing personality. That way they can go ahead and bounce ideas or share ideas with others, so that way they can go ahead and enhance, of course, by means of their learning. Some of the techniques they go ahead and to go ahead and excuse me, to assist here. Number one, aim to work with others as much as possible. Rather than reciting assertions to yourself, try sharing your key assertions with others. Ask a lot of questions and find ways in which you can put yourself in group settings when learning a skill. This is definitely going to help as well. Excuse me. These three suggestions here will go ahead and enhance, of course, any situation that you may find yourself in if you are that interpersonal person. And last, we have solitary or intrapersonal. This one I find very, very, I can relate to this one here very much so. And let me explain why. So if you are an intrapersonal learner, you prefer to study independently and work autonomously. And you find that, especially in the workforce, a lot of employers will go ahead and ask, how well you do work by yourself. You may be introverted in your training sessions, so simply you may sit in a corner, but you are taking the information, even though you may not be speaking a whole lot. Your study situations by keeping to yourself and developing your own self-awareness. So this is important as well. Let's go into the next picture. Planning. Excuse me. By identifying your objectives before your lesson, you clearly pave your intrapersonal learning path. Active learning. Rather than simply reading, you will recall your lesson by being involved in it. That may mean asking questions in class, taking notes, recording lectures, and as well as solving problems. Relating. You will be interested in your lesson if you feel a connection to it by sharpening your mind and deepening your understanding through trying new material or trying new material or towards familiar topics. You establish a rewarding learning experience through common ground with stories and as well as metaphors, and as well as journaling. Keeping track of your thoughts and feelings as you approach your classes can serve as a tool as you progress through school. And these were the 7 learning styles that we went through today. By means, they're very interesting in regards to, how one may go ahead and actually fit into one of these categories. As you mentioned before, it's not concrete. You may not fit into exactly one. You may feel into multiple categories, but by means, as once again, as the old African proverb says, know thyself. And once you know yourself, you can go ahead and adapt by understanding, of course, how you learn best. My name is Dave Rankin. This is here to help you. By means, like, share, subscribe. We thank you so much for joining us today on Here to Help You. See you next week.